Welcome back, everybody, to episode 2 of season 2 of the Player 2 Player podcast. I'm Kirk.
I'm Luke.
And today we have some rapid fire news for you. Nothing too big. We got a new PlayStation 5 model.
We did?
Have all kinds of feelings about that.
You too?
Hagen and I both played Assassin's Creed Mirage a little bit. So we'll be doing some impressions on that. There's some news about Xbox games. And then we'll go over our Nintendo eShop games that we played from last week.
Yep.
And maybe talk about what we've been playing. So to start us off, let's just hop right in to our first topic.
Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed. Cool. Luke, do you know anything about Assassin's Creed? Have you ever played Assassin's Creed?
You're an assassin
Nice.
with a creed.
So you've never played?
Yikes.
No.
Okay. So Assassin's Creed Mirage came out this week. I started playing it a little bit and was immediately thrown off, frustrated, and irritated. And it almost made me not want to play it at all.
But wasn't it nostalgic?
Because of Ubisoft Connect. That is the dumbest thing I have ever experienced.
Wait, what's Ubisoft Connect?
So I logged on, I just booted up the game, and it would not let me start the game without an Ubisoft account.
Mm.
I had to sit there on my PS5 and type in my email and type in a password and set that all up. It would not let me launch the game without doing that. And that almost made me not ever want to touch another Ubisoft game. Not only did it do that when I first booted it up, but it also continued to give me notifications, and my internet's really bad, by the way. Like, really bad. So when a notification from Ubisoft Connect comes over from the internet, it lags across the screen, and it is so frustrating. I don't care about the points or achievements I'm getting through Ubisoft. I'm trying to play a PS5 game. Like, I don't want to deal with that, and that was infuriating.
Yeah, I've run into similar things with Activision. You need an Activision account to play Call of Duty.
On console, though?
Yeah.
That's so dumb.
Yeah. But one of the nice things about it is it makes all your progression cross-platform. So I can play on my Xbox.
Well, on Activision it does. I don't know
if
Ubisoft does that.
But all of my stuff is cross-progression with Call of Duty, except COD points. So I bought COD points on my Xbox, and I can't use them on my computer.
Yeah, that's
so I had to go back to my Xbox and boot it up to purchase the thing that I bought. And now I have like 100 COD points on my computer and like 300 on my Xbox, which is not enough to do anything with. But like together, I would only have spent like $10 to get something.
That stuff should be opt-in and it should be optional. The fact that I literally can't launch the game without doing, like, what if I didn't have internet? You know, like, what if I bought the game physically, didn't have internet, and it just wouldn't let me launch?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just frustrating and it's dumb. But other than that, yes, it was nostalgic. I did immediately get vibes of the very first Assassin's Creed game, which is cool because I like that game a lot. It's not good. I'll just say that, like, especially nowadays. But at the time when I played the first Assassin's Creed game, I enjoyed it, and then hopped right into 2 and absolutely loved it. And so it takes you back to the same, what's the castle called? Do you remember?
In the original one?
Yeah.
I do not remember.
It's like the fort that Altair trains at or whatever.
I remember what you're referring to. I do not remember the name.
Yeah, that one. So I've seen that one in Mirage, and it seems like that's the same place because it is in that same area. So that was cool and neat to just see it up in the distance. Didn't get to go in it yet. I'm not sure if I get to, but yeah, other than that, it is also nostalgic because the mechanics are nostalgic for a 2009 game. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Maybe, Hagen, did you play Valhalla?
Yeah.
Does this feel like, is it similar or does it feel like a regression? Because it feels very choppy to me. The free running in this game is really bumming me out because it really reminds me of Assassin's Creed 1 and 2 in terms of how like choppy it is, which back then I really liked. But since playing like Spider-Man PS4,
right.
The free running in that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so smooth. But
I think to touch on that, like, I don't think it's a regression. I definitely think they simplified a little bit of it. I unfortunately, because I was out of town, I only got about 5 minutes on remote play. So 5 to 10 minutes. And I was like, okay, here's the first little story introduction, which definitely got me hooked right away. I was like, okay, here we go. But as far as free running, I did very, very minimal, and it was like on my backbone, like through my phone. So it was just not ideal. So I can't really speak to it too much. Okay. I will say though that the newer, I would say almost every Assassin's Creed title has always gone for slightly more realistic as opposed to arcadey. A little bit more, right? It's in terms of free running, it doesn't feel like fluid. Yeah. But free running in reality isn't fluid. It just,
I guess, but it feels so much better if it is. Like,
I agree, but you're also not a superhero.
Sure.
You're not
well,
Spider-Man.
I don't, but that's not really the issue I've experienced in Mirage, because he will like snap to a
see, I didn't see that.
He'll like, there was one time where I tried to run up a wall, but instead of running up the wall, he jumped backwards to grab like a thing to hang from and pull himself up from. I was like, first of all, that's not realistic at all. Second of all, I wanted to climb that wall. So it's not very intuitive, and it feels like it has the exact same control scheme from back then too, which is like, let's evolve a little bit. Let's iterate. And so yes, in a way I do appreciate the nostalgia, and it is like a relatively pretty game, but it's definitely not like,
it's also a much lower budget game though compared to its previous.
Well,
Assassin's
you're right.
Creed
It
games.
is lower budget, but it's also been 15 years since the originals, and it doesn't feel much better. It does look a lot better, but it definitely doesn't look like a AAA Ubisoft game. Like,
I think you got to boot up the original Assassin's Creed and then play them back to back and see if it actually doesn't feel better.
I actually watched a comparison video.
Yeah.
And it made me appreciate the things that have changed. Like the graphics do look much better, obviously, but they don't look great for nowadays, which is still disappointing. But it's a budget game, fine, whatever. It's not a big deal. But the faces are still like,
what's the last
trippy
game
and bad
that we got that
wise.
we thought actually looked great?
Actually looked great?
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion 3.
So not realistic graphics.
Oh, realistic graphics wise, I don't know. I think I don't know.
Because I feel like every time a new game comes out, we talk about it looks good, but it doesn't look great.
Yeah,
I don't remember the last time I heard anybody talk about a like.
I feel like Call of Duty games always look really good.
Like
the campaigns.
It's so easy to replicate though. Like, I mean, I feel like they have a little bit higher. They turn over so many games so quickly that they already have all the assets, you know? I mean, they have all the textures, they have all the character models.
Also, some of them don't look great. Or there's just like there's things about them that are very clearly just like a flat texture.
So here, one that did come out that looked really good was Forspoken. The PS5 exclusive that was total garbage. You didn't think it looked good?
It was it felt. Yeah, no, I did. I thought it felt a little like sharp.
Well, God of War Ragnarok looked really good.
That was incredible.
There are definitely realistic looking games that are like robot dinosaur game.
Yeah.
What am I
thinking of?
No, you're thinking
Horizon.
Of Horizon may be the most beautiful game we've gotten.
Horizon Forbidden West is gorgeous.
So we are getting
there's lots.
Consistently that we think
Spider-Man looks really good. Okay. It's not like perfect, but it does look really good.
I hear more often than not.
I'm saying like those are all up here, and Assassin's Creed is back in the 360 era. Like in terms of the facial animations, the environment looks really pretty, but I'm getting a lot of like screen tearing, and I'm getting a lot of like pop in and like clipping. Dude, clipping in the Assassin's Creed games is too much.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's I don't know. The free running has almost made me put the controller down a couple times. Like, it's that frustrating.
Wow.
The combat is like fun, but you'll like hit someone with a sword and they don't react. You'll assassinate someone and they just stop whatever they're doing. Like this, I watched Donkey's video on it, and he literally like is like aiming a bow or whatever. You go to assassinate him, and he like puts it down and puts it on his back, gets assassinated and falls over. I'm like, dude. And the AI is bad. Really? Like I can walk in front of someone holding a dead body, and they're like, "What was that?"
I feel like Assassin's Creed is notorious for bad AI. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, but it's not getting better. So like it was this good 10, 15 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm just saying, make it better. So I don't know. Overall, it's pretty disappointing. It's fun to play just because it's fun to assassinate and like stealth around, and that's the kind of stuff I liked. And the mainline Assassin's Creed games have really left the stealth stuff kind of behind for the most part. It's not designed around stealth. This one is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. You don't really have anything else?
Yeah, I don't have
played it for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I unfortunately, I was really bummed I didn't get a chance to play it enough. But I hope to play it really soon.
Well, thanks for game sharing with me.
Yeah, no problem. You're welcome for that game.
For sure. All right, what's next on the
PlayStation 5 Slim?
Oh yeah, okay. So why don't you say what you think? Because I already made a TikTok on what I think.
So, does it take a disc?
Okay, so I'll just say
go.
Yeah. So they announced in the PlayStation blog on what's today? Tuesday, I think. That they're making a mainline revision. This is not the Slim model per se. It is a slimmer model. It's a mainline revision. This is what the PS5 is gonna look like now.
Okay.
They raised the price of the digital version from $500 to $550.
Whoa.
And the disc version remains the same.
Both
of them are technically the same model. They're exactly the same, except the disc version comes with the disc drive pre-installed. You can buy a disc reader for your digital version now, but like that's $80.
I still like it.
So, but it's that makes it officially $30 more than just buying.
Well, can you use the disc reader with the previous?
No, the disc reader installs onto this one.
Oh.
So there's a digital model that you can put a disc reader on, and then it's a normal model, or there's the regular model. But they've raised the floor price. It used to be floor price. Is that the right thing to say?
Sure. I don't know.
Like the entry price. Yeah. Like the initial. If you want a PS5, it used to be $400. Now it's $450 or $500. So yeah, it is slimmer. There is now glossy plastic on the top and then matte plastic on the bottom, which I hate
glossy plastic.
I hate glossy plastic for every reason. And the stand is weird. So the stand is like a silver ring now that it kind of slots on. And it's $30 if you want the stand. It comes with a stand for a horizontal, but it looks like a Switch kickstand almost. Like it goes underneath of the skinny part, and it's just a metal, like,
interesting
stick. Yeah, it looks really bad. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of the way it looks. The only positive, as far as I'm aware, I guess it is technically smaller, so that's nice because the PS5 is massive. It does have 1 terabyte of storage now, which is
in all models
frustrating because it should have always had 1 terabyte, but it had 825 gigs for some reason.
Oh, so we got like a 200 gig bump.
Yeah, so it's not a huge bump. It's definitely not worth $50 as far as the digital version is concerned. But yeah, that's kind of the situation. I do like the removable attachable disk drive. That's kind of cool if you buy the $500 version. If you buy the $450 one, it ends up being more expensive. It's like $30.
So what's the difference between the $450 and the $500?
The disk drive.
So what he's saying is that they're basically the same console now, but there is one that comes with
a disk drive.
The disk drive already pre-installed. There's one that comes without that you can buy separately and install. Yeah. So same consoles now.
So there is now effectively one PS5. There used to be the digital version and the physical version. Forget about that. There is now a PS5.
Whoa.
And it either comes with a disk drive or it doesn't.
But you have to install the disc drive?
Well, if it comes with it, it comes pre-installed.
But yes, if you got the digital edition and then say 6 months down the road, you were like, I want discs.
Okay,
I can go buy an $80
but it's the
disc
same
drive.
format.
Same format, same form and function. As far as
and the plates don't fit.
Correct.
The old plates won't fit because of the redesign, which makes sense. Somebody pointed out to me on TikTok. They were like, why would they fit? I'm like, yes, I know that they wouldn't fit. But it's just frustrating for anyone who would want to switch to this model, which there really is no reason to.
Yeah.
But if you did want to switch to this model for some reason and you had Spider-Man plates, they don't fit.
Yeah.
Also, as far as I know, they're not going to make Spider-Man plates for this. So that sucks, you know?
Yep.
I'm sure they're already designing for that.
Oh, I'm sure D-Brand will. But as far as, like, if you want a special edition console, you cannot get it now. Like, the new ones will not come with special edition plates as far as right now is concerned, you know?
Right. I mean, but I'm sure if they do a special edition a year
and the frustrating thing about that is if they do a special edition next year for some new game, right? Say they do a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth one, they won't. There's no way they'll do it for the current model PS5.
No,
and that is freaking infuriating.
That's been normal with special editions forever since all consoles.
I know it's normal, but it's like this revision is completely pointless.
Right, I understand what you're saying. I just mean in terms of changing the form factor, that's a fairly normal thing. And the fact that the PlayStation 5...
it's actually not. Just to go from a like, they never just redo it for no reason. They do a slim model oftentimes, and that's a lot smaller. And if they do a PS5 Slim, I'm sure it will be a lot smaller. I don't think they've ever done this before where they just change the form factor for literally no reason. Like, they'll do a Pro, and then that's different.
Mm-hmm.
No, the 360 always had a reason. So there was the initial 360.
They completely changed it for Kinect, which there was no reason for that.
It had like a lot more storage, and it was a lot smaller, and it came with a Kinect.
Yeah, sure. I guess I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, this is like barely more storage, barely smaller, and it feels like it's just to sell more stuff, which is what they're going to do. I get that, but
my takeaway is I wish that they had done this in the first place, and that's what's frustrating.
Sure. Like, it should have launched this way.
Exactly. Yeah. And it looks, it actually...
I actually don't love the look, but...
Maybe it's because I've stared at the PlayStation 5 for so long. I hated it when it first came out. I thought this was the ugliest thing. Cool piece of art, but like, it's not a console. It shouldn't be a console. It should be like...
It belongs in a museum.
Yeah, exactly. But this one now at least feels a little bit more along the lines of, this is a pretty console. Maybe it's just because I've been staring at this thing for 2.5 years. I don't know.
Sure.
But I think my last thought is I appreciate the full terabyte. Why didn't they do it before?
Exactly.
I appreciate the expandable disk drive. Why didn't they do it before?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I will say, at least the glossy plastic is white and not black.
That's actually a good point. That's a good point. Black glossy plastic is like, what are you doing? And then I just don't get why they keep putting glossy plastic on things. Like the Switch OLED model, I'm like, what are you guys thinking? Yeah. That is going to get scratched to heaven come, kingdom come. I don't know. It's going to get really scratched, you know? And people are like, well, you don't touch it that much. I'm like, yes, you're right. I don't. But when I clean it and wipe dust off it, it scratches the F out of it. Mm-hmm. So I just hate that. But anyways, that's all sorry. Could rant about that for literally ever. Yeah. Also, I just realized we're all wearing the wrong colors.
That's what
You should be wearing green. I should be wearing red, and you should be wearing blue.
As we were talking about this, I had that thought and was like, I need to mention this at some point. I'm so glad you brought it up.
Because you're the Xbox guy, I'm the Nintendo guy, and he's the PlayStation guy.
So we need to reorder the sweatshirts.
We just send them back.
Actually, yeah, we should.
Yeah. Anyways, any other thoughts on that, you guys?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. Okay, what's up next?
Xbox Acquisition.
Okay, so can you pull up the list of those things?
Is this official?
So, it hasn't closed yet, but it might close by the time this podcast goes live. It might even close tomorrow. So, it's like pretty much done.
I just want it done already.
So, Activision Blizzard came out with an official statement saying that they're gonna try to get their games onto Gamepass. But they're not planning on adding their games into Game Pass officially until throughout the year next year. I believe it was Jason Schreier, but it might have been some other guy. I'll put the source in the comments. But what's the website called? Xbox?
Pure Xbox.
Pure Xbox. Posted their source and a whole list of games that they believe are going live this year, if not when the deal goes through immediately.
What makes them think that?
They know for sure. They have inside sources at Xbox who
I understand why they wouldn't do this, but I would really like to see Modern Warfare 3 on Game Pass.
I think
that would be huge.
Why not put their entire past catalog on Game Pass?
I mean,
because that's in Microsoft's best
interest. The one
that's
coming out end of this month.
Oh, I don't know if maybe.
They would love that.
Anybody who pre-ordered it will be pissed, though.
Right. So I wouldn't.
I bet they'll
expect the next Call of Duty
in like 6 months.
Sure, but I wouldn't expect the new Call of Duty to be available day one until next year's Call of Duty.
Yeah.
If you guys want to know, along this list, so they are saying, this says, nevertheless, based on the current Activision Blizzard listing on the Xbox Store, we've come up with a list of 50 games. Thanks to Luke Spencer for the help that might be heading. So I think that this is more speculative. That being said,
it is speculative, but it's based on like inside sources.
Based on inside information.
Yeah.
That being said, specifically calling to Modern Warfare 3, it says not until at least 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured.
That makes sense.
But can you read through? Don't read all 50 of them, but see if there's any noteworthy things in there.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of the Call of Duty 1, 2, Modern Warfare 2, 3, these are the originals. Advanced Warfare, all the Black Ops, Ghost, Infinite.
Let's go.
Reboot of Modern Warfare, World at War, which would be awesome. I love that game.
Sweet.
That was
especially
like
if it
S-tier.
had live.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And we could play zombies on.
Dude,
if we could play World at War zombies, that would be nuts.
Should have live.
That would
you don't
be
want to play World at War zombies.
Yes, you do.
It's bad.
I
it's
love
good.
It's not.
It's good.
I've tried to go back to it.
Oh.
The maps have all been remade, and the movement in World at War is bad. The hits are bad.
Yeah, but it was the nostalgia of finishing the campaign and going, wait, what's
for
this?
Sure. Yeah, I
totally.
mean that's definitely that was amazing. But
what else is in there?
Yeah. So we got some Crash games.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
Diablo.
Crash can be. Sorry. Xbox is like, guy now.
Yeah.
Like Nintendo has Mario, Sony has Spyro. No, Spyro is Xbox now.
Yeah,
that's
Sony
awesome.
Originally had actually both.
Yeah, Crash and Well, I don't think they were ever owned, but they were exclusive.
Correct. Yes.
Sony has Spider-Man.
Dude, the
Sony
fact
has
that
Spider-Man, that's all that matters.
The fact that Xbox has Spyro and Crash now is wild.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
Yeah, and then they're taking of Rare back in the day. Now with Banjo-Kazooie and all that stuff was I mean, the Xbox acquisition stuff is a little bit scary.
And this is maybe something we can talk about next week is what are they doing with it?
Let's talk about that next week. Yeah. Few other noteworthy games, Diablo 2, 3, and 4.
Sick. Diablo 4 would be
awesome. Spyro. That's about
Prototype
it.
is?
Yeah.
Wow. Prototype on Xbox.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Heck yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So potentially lots of games coming straight to Game Pass.
Is going to get insane with
it's
this
already
acquisition.
insane.
I know,
it's already
but
insane.
it's going to
it's going to get even
the
more
amount
insane.
of AAA games that are going to be on Game Pass is going to double.
Yeah.
If not triple.
Totally.
I don't know how they will pay for that long term because
what do you mean?
I mean, it's the same as any streaming platform. They're all hurting for money because their subscriptions are way too low. The value that they're giving is way too high. And they're spending millions and millions of dollars on content acquisition, content creation. All of these streaming platforms are hurting.
One of the things they get with the Activision Blizzard acquisition is all of their mobile stuff and the amount of money that they make on mobile games is outrageous.
Yeah.
Like if there's some of the highest grossing games of all time are mobile games. Like it's crazy how much money.
I mean, they're bringing in all of Activision Blizzard's revenue, so that's insane.
Like that's
going through the
World
roof.
of Warcraft subscriptions.
One thing that like Disney Plus and Game Pass have in common is they're backed by some of the largest companies in the world. So Game Pass is not gonna be a problem. Like even if they lose money on it, their goal is to like convert because they're trying to make up for the last generation of like totally losing. Like the Xbox One generation really hurt the Xbox brand, and I think they're trying to recover most of that. And so if they have to lose some money on Game Pass to do that, I think it's worth it to them. Because now, like we mentioned last week, is Sony ponies are buying Series S's to put in their house. They're getting Game Pass on their phone.
Well, and on top of that, like the Series S, the value of, I mean, it was what, a several $billion acquisition for Activision?
7, I think.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
So just like that's the value they're adding to their company. Like they're adding.
Yeah, totally.
The Series S is gonna become a content nostalgia machine now.
Yeah,
you want to play World at War with your buddies? Well, for $350 on a Series S, you can do it, and you can play it. Oh yeah, it is. Wait, didn't they up it?
Nope, $299.
Why do I think $350?
Because the black one with the new 1 terabyte is $350.
But yeah, $300, and you have access to the entire Call of Duty library.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
insane.
and Spyro and Crash and all that stuff. So yeah, I think
just as a price correction, $68.7 billion.
Did I say 7 billion? Oh, I think Star Wars was like 7 or 8 billion. This isn't. That's insane. Wait, 68 billion?
68.7 billion. So almost.
That's 69. Such an insane number.
That's wild.
Yeah. I mean,
Star Wars sold for 4.05 billion.
Okay, I'm just wrong about it.
What? Yeah. They added $100 billion to their company. Basically.
I mean, you could argue that Disney made out on that deal.
Yeah.
You don't have to argue that.
$1 billion%.
They made $4 billion back in a month.
Yeah.
George is still kicking himself over that.
Yeah.
I don't think George cares, honestly.
Yeah, but I feel like for one person, the difference between 1 billion and 70 billion is indistinguishable.
Fair.
Yeah. So anyways,
Insane.
that's supposed to close today or tomorrow. It'll probably be done by the time this podcast goes up. So that's exciting.
Crazy.
Can't believe it finally happened. It was a really long year.
It was. Yeah, there was a lot of ups and downs with that.
Totally.
There was several times where I thought that wasn't happening.
Oh, there was several times in the past couple months.
Bummed me out.
Yeah. It'll be cool. All right, what's next on there?
Something that we don't need to talk about.
Oh, yeah, so I actually wanted to mention Starfield. We've all talked about this before. Hagen likes it. I think it's
people like it.
A game from 2008. Yes, there are some people that like it. However, it is currently the worst rated Bethesda game on Metacritic.
Maybe Bethesda should stop developing games on the Oblivion engine.
Yeah, they should. I agree.
Yeah.
But did you hear what I said?
Maybe get a new engine.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the lowest Bethesda game. It's beat by Fallout 76.
Ooh.
Which is
that's
pretty insulting.
That's rough.
As a fan of it too, that's shocking because I played both of those games and 76 was unplayable.
Yeah, at launch it for sure was.
I heard Fallout 76 came a long way.
It has come a long way. It's nothing like a No Man's Sky or a Cyberpunk or anything like that, but it is a lot better. It's like playable. They've supported it a lot. But I will agree, the stuff that they did with that game was straight up gross. Like the way that they treated customers through all of that, it was bad. Anyways, the fact that Starfield is ranked below that is like really rough. I think it's just dated game design.
I mean, the fact that they're still using a original Xbox engine is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah,
like
they
if
need to
told me they were still
need to iterate. They need to update. Like, I love those games. I love the way that Bethesda does games, but Starfield really is like not much. Again, same with like Assassin's Creed Mirage. It's like just barely iterative from like Oblivion.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah, it looks pretty, right? For the most part. I mean, actually it doesn't look that pretty. Most of the planets are like look like they were generated in a 360 game. Like it's too big. It's not anyways, it's dated game design, and I love what they're doing, but I want them to do it different.
Better.
Yeah, better. I want them to improve on it. And like Starfield feels like a game that came out that was designed in 2005. And I want it to feel like a game that came out now that was designed 3 years from now. Like that's what Oblivion felt like when it released. If people were like, this is so ahead of its time, you know? And now it's not.
If you would have told me that it was developed on the same engine as Skyrim, I would have been like, that's too old. Like,
yeah, but more.
That's crazy. But no. They go back another 20 years, and that's the engine it was developed on.
Totally.
That's crazy.
I will say, to that same effect, as much as I love it, and anytime I play it, I am constantly going, oh, they need to do this with it.
Yeah.
This needs to be the way that this works. And I'm really just hoping and praying, because I felt like watching Skyrim was a good example of like, wow, they just gave the community more and more and more over time, and that was really positive. I hope that that's what they do with this game, because it will bring customers back, and people like you who are like, I'm not playing it, may have new reasons to come back and play it. And yeah, I really hope, because it has such good potential.
I also have to mention this. I watched Arlo's video on Starfield, and he mentioned a couple of things that blew my mind that I didn't even realize. Like, it's one of those things that should be obvious, but there are no aliens in Starfield.
Well.
It's a sci-fi space game. Like, where are the aliens? That's shocking to me, right? Like,
there are no aliens in the main story up to the point that you've played, at least.
Okay, so there are some.
Yeah, I mean, spoiler alert.
Sure,
there's something out there.
Okay,
there's something out there, and that's the whole point
I'm thinking,
of
like,
the story.
Okay, all right, but still, like Mass Effect, like full of aliens. Star Trek,
mind you, though, this is, I might botch this. I think that it's 500 or 600 years after humans originally left Earth.
Yeah,
this is new. All still new discovery. That's what you're playing.
Sure.
They just don't communicate it to you until 12 hours into the campaign.
Well, and I think that's probably why it gets interesting at 12 hours.
It gets so much more interesting.
But I think that's just like one of the, I don't know. We don't need to go over this
we don't
again.
need it. It's not a Starfield day, but
it's just like, it's just not an interesting game to play.
Yeah.
And I guess there are parts that get better, but just overall, like, I'm not a fan of NASA punk style. I'm not a fan of. But whatever. Anyways, it's rated low, and it sucks, and it's bad, and everyone agrees. Continue.
Okay, our main topic today, which I think will be a little bit abbreviated, is the eShop, iShop, uShop.
Yeah. eShop, iShop, uShop. Go first? I'll go first. So Hagen bought a game for you that I played called Pinstripe. It's a super... It's scary.
Really?
Yeah, it's not like jump scares and like whatever. It's just like gross and disturbing. And there's like these ink sacs that make you hallucinate, and your daughter gets kidnapped at the beginning of the game, and it's just yucky. It's got like a Tim Burton vibe, but like if he leaned even a little bit darker.
Dang.
Yeah. Wow. 'Cause he's more like, he's in the middle of like family friendly / like he rides that line very well.
Yeah.
But this is just like full tilt, dark and scary. I was really enjoying it. It's like a puzzle platformer, kind of sort of Metroidvania-esque progression. I guess not really, But you have to backtrack a lot and go back in between things and get keys and come back and unlock things. And I was really liking it. But right when I got like maybe 2 hours into it, I got soft locked and I couldn't progress anymore. There was an enemy that I needed to burn a thing on the ground. It was a puzzle. And because I needed to have a certain amount of money to buy a ticket to go somewhere, I got stuck because that enemy stopped spawning.
Wow.
So I reloaded the game. I reloaded my save. I closed it. I updated it. I retried. I did everything.
Did you Google it?
I walked in and no, I didn't care that much. I tried a lot to fix it, and then I just wasn't able to, which I was bummed because I was liking it. But that I'm not going to start over. Like, so, yeah, I don't know. I like the art style. That soft lock really bummed me out though, because I think I would have really enjoyed it. The premise of the game is basically, I don't know if you died or whatever, you and your little girl died and go to hell. Seems like that's what it is. But your mom had, or her mom had died, your wife had died, and she's missing, and it seems like Mr. Pinstripe or the devil like comes and kidnaps your daughter, and you have to go save her. And I was like sufficiently pissed off at him enough to be like motivated to be like, okay, let's go play. And I like the art style and the mechanics are fun, but yeah, I mostly enjoyed it.
Cool.
So good pick.
Well,
not your fault that
I know.
the soft
I
lock
didn't
happened.
develop the game.
No, you did actually. This
Hagen,
is all
stop
your
making
fault.
bad games.
You knew that soft lock was there, and that's why
You did it on
you picked
purpose.
it.
Yeah, I did. Sucker.
You want to go?
Yeah, I played Fall of Porcupine,
Which I picked for Hagen.
Hated this game.
Oh, really? Why?
Yeah, the amount of times I pushed A in the 4 hours I played this game is outrageous.
It's an A simulator.
Oh no.
The dialogue,
Lots of dialogue.
don't care about, and there's a ton of it, and it takes forever. And you start spamming A, and then that's the button you push to talk to the person again. So you talk to them again.
Like several times.
It's like the owl in Ocarina. Did you get all that? No. It's the default option.
Did you? Were you listening? Yes. No. Wait, I wasn't listening. I don't know what to put.
Dude, he does switch it.
It does.
That feels like on purpose from Nintendo.
Oh, for sure.
Another thing that happened is there's a few like little puzzles in it, and it explains the puzzle to you. And I read it and I thought I understood it, and then I went to the puzzle, had no idea how to do it. I couldn't go back. I couldn't exit out of the puzzle. There was no instructions. There was no help I could get. There was nothing that so I had to. I went and watched a walkthrough, and then paused it on the frame where it explained how to do the puzzle, so I could do the puzzle.
Did it make sense after you watched it, or was you were like,
I just misunderstood. I misunderstood the instructions, and then it's just a very confusing puzzle. I mean, it's not that confusing. Basically, there's like these vials, and there's a color in each vial because you play a doctor in the game, and there's a color in each corner of the vial, and you have to circle them to where that color points into each other to form a square. Super easy puzzle to do,
but you just didn't understand.
When I read it, I didn't get it, and
Gotcha.
then the fact that I couldn't get out of it to get the instructions was irritating.
That is irritating.
Any game without a sprint button instantly goes down in my book. Like, you walk so slow in this game, and to get to work...
It's vibey, Luke. It's a vibey
to
game.
get to work, you have to go through, like, 5 loading screens.
Yeah,
and the first few days, you just go home, go to work, go home, go to work, and so...
It's an indie game. Give them a break.
No. They don't deserve one.
Jeez. So it's, like, bad. Or it's just not for you.
It's definitely not for me. If it's for you, then you might be able to get past the frustrations.
Yeah.
And if you cared about the dialogue and you cared about the characters and you were interested, I just wasn't. The most interesting part of the game happens at the beginning. Just a lot of weird stuff is happening, and then you wake up. And then, but something in that dream seems like happened previously, and it was actually pretty spooky. You're like walking through like an abandoned hospital.
And you liked that part?
Yeah, it was neat. And then you find out that that's the top of the hospital wing. That's the top floor wing in the hospital, and you can't go in there. But there was somebody there that's in the hospital now, and they both talk about this injury that happened.
I think I would like
any of this as spoilers because it's only a couple hours in the game.
Yeah.
But it was so tedious.
Sure.
And there's this cool like little like hover mechanic. Hover's not gliding mechanic is the right word, where you jump, and if you hold the jump button you glide. But there's not a lot of places to use it. I'm sure there is eventually, because the beginning of the game was almost like a platformer, like in that dream sequence. So I think there's some platforming that will eventually happen in the game.
Yeah, games like that kind of have different mechanics and sort of switch genres throughout. But
there's just like a few things about it, and there's what I think was frustrating to me is, so you leave your apartment and then there's a bike, and you're like, oh, I want to get on this bike, and so you click on it, and he goes, this bike has been here since I moved in. You're like, great, take the bike. He's like, if it's still here by winter, I'll take it. It's like, so I know this is there. I know it's going to get me there faster. Granted, it's going to give me all the loading screens faster too. It's just locked, and I don't have a sprint button. So like, you're just like forcing me to go slow, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like, I like the games.
Okay, I get it. You didn't like it.
Well, no, I like the games that I can go slow if I want to.
Yeah.
And I can progress quickly if I want to.
Sure.
Also, I didn't buy it when it was on sale, so I paid the full $20 for it.
Why didn't you? I literally told you buy it because it was on sale.
Yep. Just forgot.
Bummer. Well, I think you should have gone last, because Luke and I have very similar outlooks on very similar style games from what it sounds like.
I was going to say that reminded me of Night in the Woods.
Yeah, so Night in the Woods is the game I played. Very story-driven. No game mechanic other than you move May, the cat, around.
There's not
you play
mechanic.
bass. You play bass.
There's lots of little mini games.
There's like little mini games.
Did you play her video game in her room?
Yeah, I did. That's was probably
really
the most
fun.
interesting part of the game, which is sad. So here's the thing. I'm gonna give it a lot of grace for two reasons. One, because on the way here I was reading a story on the developer, which I'll get to. It was
while you
crazy.
were driving?
Yes. I'll just be honest. I don't know. Just is what it is.
Do you frequently read articles while you're driving?
No. Just simply because I was actually trying to. I was like, crap. I need to get this. I mean, we are out in. I mean, I guess it's a booming town, but I mean, this is a little teeny tiny town.
Yeah, with a 2-lane highway,
road, like it wasn't
traffic in each direction. If you drift this much, you get hit by a semi and die.
No, I'm in traffic.
Anyways.
Shouldn't be doing that. Kids don't read articles and drive.
I have two questions. Did you finish it?
No.
Did
Definitely not.
Okay.
There's no way. I don't think I could. I don't think I could stomach it.
It's actually quite long, and I really liked it. And I got to the point where I was like, okay, this is too long.
Yeah. It was. So basically, the similar cycles. Like it's literally. This is the premise. You're a 20-year-old cat who drops out of college. And you go back to your hometown to live with your parents. So you're trying to reconnect with all your high school friends, your like kids from growing up, and everybody's sort of doing their own thing.
And it's vibey.
And it is very vibey. Here's what I did not connect with. I'm a 30-year-old. She's a 20-year-old. She's like,
yeah, she's pretty.
Oh, I want to go shoplifting and I want to go drink in the woods. And I'm like, that is not me. I want to go hang out with my daughter and like go have dinner. Like, I don't know. Like,
and smash some mailboxes.
Yeah, it's smash mailboxes and cars
while reading an article while driving.
Oh my gosh, no, the cat was doing that. Maybe I started learning some bad habits from
that
this
was a good joke. I wish I had said that.
That was good.
That was funny.
It was the same sort of situation. It was kind of painful to run around. It's a 2D. Art style was beautiful. Like I was like, wow, this is so interesting to look at.
It's super interesting.
But there was nothing that was the story was not gripping me fast enough.
Yeah.
to keep me going, because most of it is dialogue boxes. You spam me because you're just like, this isn't really interesting.
Did you try to like?
I did for a while. There were times where I'd play it and like, okay, I'm gonna really try, but then I'd sit there talking to her friend for 20 minutes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is so boring. And then I would like spam
most of
it for a
that's
little
optional
while.
though, right?
Yeah, some of it is. Yeah. I got far enough. There is a mystery lurking. Something is in the woods, right?
Yeah.
I didn't get far enough to be able to, like what you said with Pinstripe was like right away. You had a reason to go play that game.
Sure.
I had no reason to play this game. It was like you'd wake up and you'd walk downstairs and have to talk to your mom, and your mom would be like, "Come visit me." You're like, okay, maybe. That's your quest.
Right.
Go visit your mom.
Right.
And I do want to give it its credit. It has its demographic of people. Before I was driving, reading some reviews. I was sitting at a coffee shop waiting for my coffee, and I was reading the reviews, which is what started me on this article, because then I got to this article and I was like, what is happening? So of course I had to keep reading.
Yeah.
Reading some reviews on it, and people loved this game. So I think if you are wanting something that is slow, I think it would really work for people who don't like action combat games. I think if you just want to play something that's story,
they're both almost like visual novels.
Yeah.
But they're a little bit more interactive than that.
Just
you
imagine,
just have to, like, the game has to be for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like that's very similar. I don't know if you experienced this, but I didn't want to explore or talk to people.
Yeah.
Because I was so uninterested, and it was so time consuming.
I wanted there to be
that I
something
was just
that
trying to progress.
Yes.
And the things I wanted to do seem like things you will be able to do, just like
way down the road.
Yeah, exactly.
And I kind of I don't think that there was any extra special things that were going to be unlocked for me in my game. Not the kind of game that is. It wasn't like you're going to get a bike so you can walk around the town faster, bike around the town. But it was more that I think that a good gripping story would have gotten me hooked on just doing the novelization of it. But the story
some good platforming and stuff, right?
It's like in a dream. There's a couple dream sequences throughout the game where you have to jump on a roof and go, and it's like, but there's no goal. It's just sort of like you got to figure out how to finish the dream.
Yeah, I think again for both of you guys, where it seems more goal oriented, these are not. These are experiences.
Yes.
More so than
I can appreciate the game for what it is, recognizing it's not for me. I tried really hard to put some hours into it, and I probably 4-5 hours, and I just didn't feel like the story progressed fast enough to keep me interested. There was a mystery, but it was like 4 days ago, and I had to do all of these days of just like going and hanging out with your friend. Like, you walk to the market where this friend is working, and you say, hey, you want to hang out? Yeah, sure. And then you're like, go to the mall.
It's just not very substantive.
Yeah, exactly. So it was, I think, an interesting idea, just not for me.
Okay.
The interesting part of all of this, though, was that one of the main designers of the game, this was the article I was reading. I actually saw it in a comment because there's a new game made by the same studio that seems
called
to be
Fall of Porcupine.
No. I actually can't remember the name of it. I want to see if I still have the YouTube page pulled up. Yeah, it's called Revenant Hill.
That looks sweet.
The preview is it looks like it's May, the cat, but she is a cat in a human world. It doesn't say. I haven't read anything else on it because this was just this morning I was doing this, and I was like, that's May, but she's in a human world, and it's a totally different, unique story from what I can tell. Cool. I was like, only because of what I found out about this, somebody had commented what had happened to the main. And so this is a little bit of a sensitive.
Oh no! Don't tell me.
Sensitive story. It's not to the story of the game, but actually the main developer was accused of harassment. A few days later, had taken his own life, which is tragic. A few days after that, the person who had accused him rescinded the accusations.
Oh.
His sister had posted basically saying, it's like the grievance of all of that situation, said he had been struggling with different things. There's not just one person to blame here. He was definitely going through stuff on his own anyway. And so it seems like maybe this new game is for this developer
cool.
a little bit. So
That's cool.
Now I have a reason to play this other game, and maybe it gets me more excited for it. But it was just a fascinating little background to the game creator. So that was like,
that is cool.
Oh, that's crazy. Just gave more weight to even the story that was going on. It's like, wow, maybe both of these people that were involved in this situation were writing some of the story because they had stuff going on in their lives. So,
that's cool. That's something I really appreciate about indie devs. So, yeah, if you played any of these games, let us know what you thought. If not, maybe if one of them sounds good, pick it up. I definitely recommend Pinstripe. Just try not to get soft locked. Think more than I did about the puzzles before you just kill everything. But yeah, let us know what you thought. We'll probably do another one of these, maybe next episode, maybe later on. But I really like doing the segments, especially when the games are on sale and we can get them at a discount.
Yeah, it was fun.
We'll have to do other platforms too. We'll have to do like Steam and Gamepass.
Oh yeah, sure. That'd be fun
cool.
to pick Gamepass games for each other or something.
Yep.
I'll pick Starfield for you.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Please give us a like, give us a rate and review or a comment. If you're on Spotify and iTunes, the reviews really help a lot. So please do that. If you're on YouTube, give us some comments, some likes, some questions. Anything you want to know, anything you want us to talk about, leave it in the comments. And we'd love to have a dialogue with you or include some of that stuff in the show. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks.
Bye.